Hello everyone, my name is Near, and today I'm going to be doing a speed paint kind of challenge. It's going to be with one brush, no color picker, and no color picker on the actual image, but I can color pick from like whatever I draw or blend. And I'm also only going to be doing this on one layer. Later on in the video you will see like some other layers, but one of them is just me like kind of making a palette and putting some colors on just so that I can have easy access to them, instead of having to like find the exact pixel on the drawing itself. And then another layer is going to be like way towards the end, and it's just going to be a little bit of like detail for the background, and I thought that was fine because I mean the main focus of this is just to kind of like for me to practice like blending and being able to see the colors and just, you know, practice mostly. And I just thought the challenge would kind of be like a fun method to do that. Another thing is, if I do sound kind of sick right now, it's because I unfortunately came down with a little bit of like a cough, and so I feel like my voice is kind of rough, and I'm sorry for that. And it's like right as I'm starting this channel and deciding like, oh, I'm gonna start recording these videos, it's like, oh, I'm sick and my voice doesn't work. But I kind of didn't want to like, I don't know, wait, and so because I was excited, so I'm just gonna do it anyways, and hopefully I sound okay. But I really liked how this piece came out. I think it came out really nice, and I really thought like, I guess the reference image is like beautiful, and you know, because I'm using Clip Studio, I have a second window, like a sub window it's called, or like sub view open, where you can put like your reference image, and so I put it in there so you can see it, and it's like this just beautiful like portrait of this girl, and she kind of has like this kind of beautiful like reddish tones on her like cheeks, and I loved that the background was this like violet color, and I loved like the gold sparkly kind of makeup that she's got on, and I just thought it was like a beautiful image, and I wanted to, I don't know, I thought this would be perfect thing to recreate for like, you know, practice. So that's what I'm doing. And I think it's not, and this is not going to be like a hyper realistic image. It's definitely going to be like stylized and I mean, not super stylish, right? It's like I'm trying to get, I guess, like the lighting, you know, correct, and like the colors correct. But it is going to be stylized in the sense that because I'm using like the mechanical pencil brush, and I guess I should say the brushes that I'm going to be, the brush that I decided to use was the mechanical pencil brush on Clip Studio Paint, and it's kind of just this like rough texture, this like sketchy texture. I really like it because I think it's, I don't know, I like that like sketchy kind of look. I've been enjoying using like the pencils and the pastel brushes on Clip Studio because they kind of give it this like crayon look, and I've decided that I really like that. The blender for this that I'm going to be using is the texture blender. I think that blender is really nice because it matches, I think, the texture of the mechanical pencil pretty well. But yeah, so it's going to be kind of stylized in the sense of that it's not going to be like a perfectly smooth, like hyper realistic image. It's going to have like the texture because I'm using like a really textured brush. But I mean, I like it. I think it looks really nice, and I think it's going to come out really nice. But I mean, right now in the video, as you can see, I've basically been color blocking and just getting like the main colors in, right? And I changed the background to purple pretty soon, and I did that on a separate layer, right? But it's not about that, the layer, it's that wise, it's about like, this challenge is more about me getting like the actual face, right? So I think the background layer being on a separate layer is fine, right? It's just a flat color. I kind of blocked out a lot of the shapes of the face. I'm just using like a darker purple to like block in the shading. I'm using this kind of like diluted kind of like whitish purplish brown to kind of get in the highlights, and then I'm kind of going in with a red because I think she's got like these really nice red like undertones on her cheeks and kind of around her eyes, and I really wanted those to like be there and be present. You know, I'm also kind of blocking in some of the bounce lights, that are coming off the left side of her left, I guess, side in terms of like what we can see, but not left as in like her actual left. I guess that would be her right side of the face, but I'm gonna say her left, right? And I'm just like blocking in the colors right now and kind of getting the general like places of where things need to go. And you know, I will try to blend everything in and get everything a bit more like cohesive later on. Right now I'm just placing down the main colors and trying to get the shapes and the general idea of where everything is gonna go. And you may at times see me actually there was, I think at one point on the palette layer where you can see I've kind of got those dot colors on the side on that palette layer, I accidentally drew on that layer, and so what I did to fix that is I duplicated it, just the section where I had drawn the face, erased it from the palette layer, and then I go back and I merge the duplicated face layer to the main layer so that it's all back to being on one layer. And then I remembered that whenever I'm not adding a color to the palette, I need to lock the layer. And so I know in Clip Studio you can do that, where you can lock a layer and it'll basically prevent you from editing it. I don't know if other programs use it. The only other art program I've used was Krita back when it was free, and I'm pretty sure you could lock stuff on Krita, but so yeah, I don't know if on other art programs you can do it. I would think so, because I feel like it seems like a pretty basic feature, but I guess you never know, right? I feel like right now in the drawing it's gonna look kind of rough because, like I said, it's not like fully I don't know, cooked yet. But I guess you just trust the process, right? Because I think this really came out really great, and I think it's one of my really like favorite things that I've done, because it is so different than what I usually do. I guess what I kind of usually do is a little bit more like painterly, but I guess at the time I made this video like a few weeks, or not video, but I did the drawing for this like a few weeks ago, right? And so I think I've changed up my style a bit then, but like partially because of this, because I think doing this helped me get out of my comfort zone and like kind of change my perspective a bit on how to like paint digitally, right? Because I think before I was kind of doing a little bit more of like the line art, but it's like I hate line art. I hate doing line art. And that's part of why I wanted to do this, was because you don't really need to do line art, and I wanted to get better at like being able to paint digitally without having to do line art. And so I've been incorporating a lot of the kind of techniques that I learned in this piece into like my general art making. So I think it was like super fruitful to do this in terms of just actually helping give me knowledge for actually improving my art. And I guess I'll post more videos later about that kind of show more of my actual art style. And I mean, but that's something that I'm still really like working on. I don't think I have like a real set in stone art style yet. I feel like I'm still trying to figure out what I can do and what I like doing, and balancing like what's a good process for me. And that's also like makes an outcome that I like, that's not like too difficult. And part of it I think is because I've only been doing the digital art for about like seriously for maybe like a year. So before this year I used to really enjoy doing and I mean, not that I don't enjoy it anymore, but I guess I just don't do it anymore as much. I used to do a lot of like oil pastel drawings and like colored pencils, and I used to do like a lot of portraits, and I mean I still do portraits, but I just do them digitally now. And like not in a bad way, I'm saying I used to do it and I don't really do it anymore, like not in a bad way at all, just like, you know, I really enjoy doing digital art. I like enjoyed the things that I can do with it, but it's still something that I'm like getting used to. And I think before I would kind of just like to, I really just like to do portraits. I really didn't draw anything more than that. I love faces. I love people's faces. I love to draw people, you know. But I'm not really good at drawing backgrounds or landscapes or anything like that. But I've kind of been like experimenting with that stuff in digital art, and so maybe I'll post videos about me practicing those things and trying out those things, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I've only really been doing digital art for about a year or so. And I think I mean, it's pretty different, but I guess it's like not that different in the sense of like, I mean, the same basics of fundamentals of like art are still the same, right? Like that doesn't really change in digital art. It's just kind of like your tool set is different. And I mean, I think it's like there's some things that I think are more difficult in digital art than they are in like traditional art. Like I found like layering and blending colors to be a lot more difficult, I think, in digital art than in traditional art. And I don't know why that is. I think that might maybe just be my own inexperience or not knowing how to use the tools right, or how to use the tools to like their potential, I guess. But I mean, that's why I practice, and that's why I do these videos like this, or these art pieces where I challenge myself to use one brush on one layer and see if I can get something that looks good, because I mean, essentially that's what traditional art is. Well, I guess, I mean, if you're that's what it is in what I was doing before, which is using oil pastels on a piece of paper, right? Is one quote unquote brush and one layer. But obviously, like, actual art varies a lot, and you can use different types of materials and mixed media, and what I mean, right? But I guess you get what I'm trying to say. It's more So I think at some point, in the video when I get to doing the gold, makeup on her face. I'm gonna leave it kind of sketchy and leave it kind of rough and line arty, and I guess that's kind of what I was saying earlier, in that I'm not necessarily going hyperrealism or photorealism. I still want it to be like kind of styled as like a drawing, right? And to kind of look like an art piece and not necessarily like the most realistically blended thing ever. And so I'm gonna go in with the gold and kind of do this like cross hatching effect. And I think I use like a few different like shades of the gold. And I think at first I go in with really like thin lines, but I want to say I go back later and I do like thicker lines. And I think it ends up looking really good. Especially with once you kind of layer some of the lighter shades on top and it kind of starts to look like it's glowing a bit more. So, and then when we get to the hair at some point, I also, again, I tried to do like a little bit of like a less is more, not a less is more, but like how do I like minimally show what this is without getting too deep into like details sometimes, because I feel like sometimes when I try to draw stuff and I do too many details, it kind of looks weird and uncanny, and I don't understand why. But I kind of wanted to just do a little bit of more minimal with the hair, and so what I do is I use the darker color that I think really suits it, and then I go in with a lighter color and I kind of like mark where the highlights are, and then I kind of take a medium color and I like smudge it in, and I go in with a little bit of that medium color, and I think it, I don't know, I think it ends up looking good. Like I feel like it's like readable. I think that's the right word. That's the word I might be looking for, where you can like tell what it is, but it doesn't need to be like hyper realistic. And then another thing I did was I go in with like the brush at like a wider size, and then I kind of lightly go over the hairline and the outside of the hair to kind of like get the vibe of the fuzzy stray hairs, but without like having to go in and try and actually draw each hair, you know? Because I think, I don't know, it's hard to draw each hair individually. Like if you're drawing a person with straight hair, you know, especially it's like, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily look good when you try to draw each real hair. So you kind of have to like gesture with it. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think maybe, you know, when I do another drawing where it's a person with like straight hair, I'll try to talk more about it then, so it'll make more sense in the context. Another thing that I really liked in this art with her was when I go to do the eyelashes. I think they come out really nice, and especially because I kind of went in and I tried to like lighten certain eyelashes and lighten around them where it kind of needed, so that they would stand out but without being kind of like melted into the shadows, if that makes sense. Because some of the shadows on her are already very dark as is, and the eyelashes are going to be dark as well, and so I kind of wanted to like, you know, show the eyelashes, but I didn't want them to like fade into oblivion or look uncanny, because I feel like sometimes, like, not sometimes, a lot of times when I try to draw eyelashes on like a more realistic styled image, they kind of end up looking like weird. So that's something that I've tried to work on a lot, is like making eyelashes that don't look crazy. But I think they came out really nice in this one. So at this point we're about nearing the end of the video, and I don't know if I lost the footage of or if I never recorded it, but I guess at some point I draw a bunch of little like stars and squiggles, and I do like little star shinies in her eyes, and I think it looks so cute. But I guess I didn't get footage of that. I guess I missed it, but this is the final image, and I think it came out amazing. I really love it. I love the colors, I love the vibe. I kind of want to print it out. There's like multiple watermarks on it because, you know, the base image I did, I think, for Instagram. I'm not sure if I ever ended up actually posting it, but, and then I have my main watermark that goes on top of my videos, but, yeah, I think it just came out really pretty and I love it. And I kind of want to print it out because with my traditional art, one of the things that I do is like I have it all pinned up against the wall over my desk, so whenever I'm doing, you know, my stuff on my computer, I can kind of look up at my art and admire it. And I kind of really want to print this one out and put it up there because I'm really proud of it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully you liked the video, and if you did, maybe you can like it and subscribe. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.